Hello and welcome to Carol Hutchins Stadium. We're here at Alumni Field. My name is Kelin Flynn for WCBN Sports. It's Michigan and Western Michigan. MAC versus Big Ten. Some college softball for you here today. Just me on the headset. But I'm going to be still bringing you coverage per usual. One of two midweek contests for the Wolverines this week before Michigan heads off to Minnesota for their final series of Big Ten play before they get going into the postseason with the Big Ten tournament and potentially into NCAA regionals. Lauren Durkowski in the circle for Michigan. She's been brilliant down the stretch for the Wolverines. A couple of no-hitters against Purdue a few weekends ago have really been the crown jewel of the sophomore season for Lauren Durkowski. Michigan dropped all three games of their series against Indiana this past weekend, looking to bounce back and get things on track before their last Big Ten series. For the Wolverines, defensively, we'll go around the diamond here. It's Livingston at first, Langford at second, McVeigh at short, and LeClaire at third. First pitch is in for a called strike from Durkowski. From right to left, it's in the outfield for Michigan. It's Ellie Mattia, Lexi Blair, and Ellie Sealer in left. Second pitch is going to be fouled off down the first base line. At the dish for Western Michigan is the left fielder, Peyton Kelly. Kelly, a sophomore righty, batting just under .330 on the season. And, of course, per usual, Kiki Thole behind the dish for Michigan. Dirk spins the ball in her hand, rocks back, winds up and fires. That's going to be upstairs for ball one. 1-2 count on the left fielder, Peyton Kelly. Chilly day here in Ann Arbor. It was drizzling rain on and off before we got started here, but the rain turned off just in time as that is going to be lined to the third baseman, Audrey LeClaire, for out number one. Easy play for 25, the senior in white. Michigan with their white tops, navy pants with the maize accents. Western Michigan with their brown tops and white pants, brown socks as well. First pitch in for strike one to the two-hole hitter, Addison Hudson. Hudson, the center fielder for Western. A lefty in the box for the Broncos. 0-1 to Hudson. Durkowski rocks back and fires. That's going to be slapped fouled on the third base line. No chance for LeClaire to make a play on it. Hudson, a .260 hitter in the order for Western Michigan. This is an order that features four hitters batting over .300 on the season in the top four spots. Hudson, the center fielder in the two-hole. She's a junior. 1-2 count to Addison Hudson. Dirk takes a peek at that wristband, spins the ball in her hand, rocks back, winds up, and fires away. That's going to be fouled straight back into the netting. We'll do 1-2 again. Crowd a little more sparse than what I'm used to seeing here at the Hutch, but likely due to the chilly weather and rain. Durkowski fires away upstairs for ball two. Livingston and Langford meet up in between first and second to have a word as Dirk continues to work on Hudson. That's going to be slapped foul. Durkowski started 2 of the games this weekend against Indiana. Led off the doubleheader on Saturday, the noon start. Gave up 4 runs through 6 innings of work as she fires away again, swing and a miss. They're going to say it was foul tipped back into the glove of Kiki Thole. Doesn't matter. The outcome is still the same, a big-time strikeout to get us started for Lauren Durkowski. That brings up Alyssa Kramer in the 3-hole for the Broncos. The 2-out pitches. An excellent off-speed pitch from Durkowski. Kramer way out in front. Fans at pitch number 1. Dirk up 0-1 on the count. Peeks at the wristband, winds up and fires for strike number 2. Another swing and miss by Kramer. Durkowski dealing early here from Alumni Field. Pitch 3 in for strike 3. A swing and a miss as Durkowski strikes out 2. Sits down Western Michigan 1-2-3 to retire the side. Wolverines are due up. And for Michigan, it will be Sealer, Blair, and Thole. A little bit of a change-up here in the order. We've been used to seeing Ellie Mataya in that 3 spot as of late. And Thole in the 4 spot. Now it's Mataya batting 6th. Indy Langford up to the 4 spot. Kiki Thole again hitting 3rd. So it's Sealer, Blair, and Thole due up for Michigan. In the circle for the Broncos is Autumn Godwin, a senior. 4-9 record on the year through 27 appearances. And a 5.13 ERA across 71 innings of work. Michigan looking to get some confidence going into their final Big Ten series as they travel to Minnesota this weekend for a 3-game set against the Gophers. And Minnesota, a strong team in the Big Ten. Michigan looking to improve their standing for the Big Ten tournament and rack up a couple of impressive wins potentially before NCAA regionals come around. As Ellie Sealer steps into the left-handed batter's box for the Wolverines. Sealer in a bit of a slump lately, as that batting average has dropped down to just under 300. First pitch is in for a strike from Godwin. Autumn Godwin, the senior, the righty, working from within the circle. Takes a pick at her wristband, brings the ball over her head, and winds up and fires off the dish for ball 1. The Broncos on a bit of a skid right now, a 4-game losing streak. They were swept by the Ohio Bobcats this past weekend at home. Broncos 16-26 on the season. It's a 2-1 count now to Sealer after the previous ball falls. And that ball's going to be struck into right over the fence, and it's gone. Ellie Sealer with a leadoff home run gets the party started for Michigan, her 2nd home run of the season. And Sealer stomps on home plate. Michigan up 1-0 in the bottom of the 1st. A leadoff blast over the right field wall. has the Michigan dugout buzzing early. That'll bring up Lexi Blair. Blair takes pitch number 1 for a ball. We talked about Blair a ton in that Indiana series for a number of excellent defensive plays she made, and a couple of extra base hits in that series as well. Godwin's next pitch is in for a called strike by home plate umpire Joseph Malik. Godwin takes a peek at the wristband, winds up and fires away. Off the dish for ball 2. 2-1 count now to Lexi Blair. Batting an astonishing 346 on the season. Been, of course, an everyday starter for Bonnie Thole. Godwin winds up and releases again. Check swing. They're going to say she went around. So 2-2 to the 5th-year Blair. Godwin fires away, and the count is full. Good eye by the senior. Blair going to hang in there. The payoff pitch from Godwin's going to be struck into left. That's going to drop for a base hit. Blair rounds first, but is called back in. And Michigan's bats are hot early. Peyton Kelly fielded it off of one hop and left, but not before Lexi Blair was in safely at first. So 1 runner on. And none out for Kiki Thole in the 3 spot for Michigan. And Blair's going to take off to steal second on the pass ball. So the Broncos are going to have a quick meeting in the circle to talk things over. So it's a 1-0 count to Kiki Thole. The wild pitch sends Lexi Blair to second. And Michigan's threatening again with a runner in scoring position after the leadoff blast by Ellie Sealer for her 2nd home run of the season. Talked about how Sealer was in a bit of a slump coming into this game, showing no signs of that early today, shaking off any rust as she blasts one over the right field wall. Talking about blasting softballs over the outfield wall, Kiki Thole has done that a number of times this season here at Alumni Field. Big cut there from Thole, can't make contact. 1-1 now to the junior catcher. Bottom of the first, Michigan up 1. Thole gonna blast that through the gap. Blair is rounding third, and she'll be called back. Would have been a close play at the plate there. A great throw came in from Hudson in center, and Bonnie Thole elects to hold her star center fielder at third off the Kiki Thole single. So runners on the corners now for Indiana Langford, who's up in the 4 spot today. Typically in that 6 area for Michigan. Bonnie Thole playing with the order a bit today and has her up in the 4 hole for the Wolverines. Known for her speed, but has really been swinging the bat well lately. And first pitch in for a called strike to Langford. Godwin dialing it in a bit more here. Excellent speed on third and Blair. Pitch 2 off the plate for a ball. 1-1 to Langford. Langford had her first career home run in the blowout win 2 weeks ago against Northwestern, in which Michigan plated 12 in the third inning. 2-1 count now to Langford as Godwin misses off the plate again. On the corners, Milena Livingston on deck for Michigan. Godwin fires away, and it's fouled off, back straight into the netting. 2-1 to Indy Langford. Langford, not a starter at the beginning of the season, but has earned her way into being an everyday starter for Bonnie Thole. Delivery from Godwin. Can't find the zone. The count is now full to Indy Langford. 2 on, none out. Michigan up 1-0 off the Ellie Sealer home run. Godwin fires away. That's going to be hit right to the shortstop. Going to be a close play. And they get out number 1. Alyssa Kramer, the shortstop, fumbled it a bit, but was able to field it and deliver a strike across the diamond to Farish, the first baseman, Courtney Farish. Typically a catcher, playing first today. That brings up Milena Livingston. 16 RBIs on the season for the former Penn State transfer. First pitch in for a called strike. A productive out from Indy Langford as Kiki Thole moves to second on the ground out. Godwin winds up and releases. Off the plate, ball 1. 1-1 count, 1 out. Michigan up 1-0 here in the bottom of the first from Carol Hutchins Stadium. You're listening to WCBN Sports live coverage of Michigan softball. There's a swing and a drive into right field, back to the warning track and off the wall. That's going to score 2. Livingston into second, or excuse me, into third for a triple. And Milena Livingston has cleared the bases except for herself on third. Michigan up 3-0 now with a triple off the wall in right field. A big time at bat for Livingston as she knocks in her 17th and 18th RBIs of the season, extending the Michigan lead early. Jessica Young, the right fielder, was backpedaling, trying to find it, and she ended up stumbling as Livingston's shot into right bounced off the wall, and the speed of Livingston took her to third. Blair and Thole both score for Michigan as the Broncos elect to make a change in the circle. Riza Bayes in the circle now for the Broncos. Bayes, a junior from Aurora, Illinois. And she'll be dealing with Ellie Mattia after she's done warming up. Mattia in the 6th spot today for Bonnie Thole. We'll have 1 runner in scoring position in Livingston after that triple. So Riza Bayes in the circle for the Broncos. And that'll bring up Mattia into the left-handed batter's box for Michigan. Mattia, a transfer from Boston College. Watches the first pitch sail by for ball one. Again, only one out as Michigan brings their sixth batter to the plate. Bayes winds up and fires. Again off the plate for ball two. Bayes a 3.02 ERA and 34 appearances for Western Michigan, 12-12 on the season. And that's 3 consecutive balls thrown by Bayes. Bayes has to find the zone here. The delivery is low as she walks Mattia on 4 consecutive pitches. In the 7th spot for Michigan, it's Lexi Voss. So with 1 out and runners on the corners, that brings up Voss. Voss has been seeing some more consistent opportunities as of late. Livingston on third, Mattia on first with plenty of speed. The 1-0 count to Lexi Voss as Bayes finally finds the strike zone. Bonnie Thole has a word with Voss as she digs back in with the 1-1. Bayes takes a peek at the wristband, winds up and fires, swing and a miss from Voss. Makes the count 1-2 with 1 down here at Alumni Field. Wolverines up 3-0 in the bottom of the first off of an Ellie Sealer solo shot to get things started. Then a Milena Livingston bases clearing 2 RBI triple as there's a big swing and a miss and a much needed punch out for Riza Bayes as she gets Voss swinging. That brings up Audrey LeClaire, the third baseman, with a couple of clutch hits late for Michigan against Indiana. Couldn't get the job done, but the Wolverines made it close at the end. First pitch in for strike 1 to LeClaire. Bayes seems to have finally found her groove a little bit after walking Mattia on 4 straight pitches as she took second. So Michigan now with runners on second and third off of the stolen base. For Audrey LeClaire. Bayes winds and delivers. That's going to be popped up, heading into foul territory, and it'll bounce off the netting. No chance for one of the Broncos to make a play on it. Bayes winds and fires, and she gets LeClaire to swing and miss. LeClaire chased off the plate, and that'll end the inning, but not before Michigan strikes to the tune of 3 runs. An Ellie Sealer blast to right in the leadoff spot, and then a 2 RBI triple from Elena Livingston puts Michigan up 3-0 through 1 inning of play. We'll head to the top of the second as Durkowski trots back into the circle for Michigan after a fantastic first inning of work from Dirk. 2 strikeouts in the inning, sat the Broncos down 1-2-3. She looks to continue her dominance. Due up for the Broncos, it's the 4-hitter Courtney Farish. And we head down to the third baseman Cassidy Brentke and the catcher Haley Boxwell. Farish listed as a catcher for Western, but playing at first today. The senior, one of the more impactful bats in the order. "12 doubles on the season for Farish, leads the Broncos. So Farish will dig in from the right-handed batter's box. Durkowski all set in the circle as we're ready to go in the top of the second. First pitch in off the dish, 1-0 to Farish. Dirk's going to take a peek at that wristband one more time, spin the ball in her hand. The 1-0 to Farish. Swung on and chopped back into the netting. 1-1 on the senior. Farish's 20 RBIs, good for third in the lineup for Western. As Dirk's pitch sails in for strike 2 on Farish. Farish in a 1-2 hole, looking to get the Broncos re-energized after a 3-run Michigan first inning. Fourth pitch is off the plate for ball 2. It'll be 2-2 now to Courtney Farish. Dirk sets, rocks back, winds up and releases. It's going to be fouled right over the press box. So we'll run 2-2 back. Michigan with 4 hits in that first inning, resulting in 3 runs. The Broncos still hitless through 1. After Durkowski dominated in the top of the first, the 2-2 is going to be chopped toward the Michigan dugout. Farish defending the plate to stay alive against the sophomore Lauren Durkowski. Durkowski with a 1.90 ERA on the season. She's 17-10 in 32 appearances and reached 200 strikeouts today. Sitting at 202 now. She was sitting at 201 now. She was sitting at 199 before the game started. Full count to Farish. The payoff pitch is going to be popped up toward Langford at second, and she camps under it, hauls it in with ease for out number 1 of inning 2. So Farish pops out to second. That'll bring up Cassidy Brentke. Brentke, a junior, hitting just under 300 on the season through 105 plate attempts. The junior from Belleville, Michigan. First pitch is off the plate for ball 1 from Durkowski. Dirk going to reset and fire away. That's in there for a called strike. The American flag in center field is howling in the wind. Well, we play on. Durkowski rocks back. The 1-1 is going to be dribbled back to Dirk. She fields it cleanly, sends it to Livingston for out number 2. So that brings up the catcher, Haley Boxwell. Boxwell, a junior from Scottsdale, Arizona, a northern Colorado transfer. First pitch in for strike 1 to Boxwell. Dirk fires away, and it's chopped foul. Boxwell in an 0-2 hole early. Dirk rocks back, fires on the 0-2. Upstairs, ball 1, 1-2 count on Boxwell. Boxwell digs back in. Dirk winds up and releases. Again, fouled off by the former Northern Colorado Bear. Dirk sets. Boxwell's ready, and that's going to bounce well before the plate for ball 2. Dirk misfired there. So 2-2 now on the junior catcher Boxwell. Michigan infield playing back. And Durkowski gets the swing and a miss on the off-speed. Boxwell heads back to the dugout, and Michigan sits down the Broncos 1-2-3 yet again. Lauren Durkowski dealing early here at Alumni Field. Due up for the Wolverines, it's McVeigh, and then we're back to the top of the order with Sealer and Blair. With that home run, Ellie Sealer's average is back up over 300 on the season. Blair up to over 350, this season after her inning 1 single to left. Against Indiana, it was McVeigh that had the 2 RBI single in the bottom of the 7th that cut the Indiana lead to 1. Michigan was unable to pull it out, but McVeigh got him within striking distance in a late rally by the Wolverines. So it'll be Riza Bayes in the circle for Western Michigan. Autumn Godwin's day was cut short after just 1/3 inning of work and 3 runs allowed. McVeigh, 289 on the season as she chops the first one foul. Bayes takes a peek at that wristband. And that'll be well high of McVeigh for ball 1. 3-0 Michigan in the bottom of the 2nd off of an Ellie Sealer solo shot to get things started. And a 2 RBI triple from Milena Livingston. McVeigh, again, fouls it off. It's a 1-2 to the sophomore shortstop from Des Moines, Iowa. Bayes fires away, and it's off the plate, ball 2. Bayes reloads, and McVeigh yet again fouls another one off. So we'll redo the 2-2. Alan McVeigh shows bunt, pulls it back, and fouls off another one. Alan McVeigh defending the plate valiantly here against Bayes to stay alive in the at-bat. Sealer on the on-deck circle, looking to stay hot after her solo shot in the bottom of the first. McVeigh shows bunt, pulls it back, and Bayes with another wild pitch. Doesn't matter with no one on base, but that's something to keep an eye on. We've seen a couple of those early from Riza Bayes. Bayes winds up and fires, and McVeigh fouls it off again. Really fighting is McVeigh in this at-bat. 32 steps back in to dig in. The payoff pitch is chopped foul again. Alan McVeigh and Riza Bayes locked in an intense duel here in the bottom of the second. So McVeigh will settle herself in, show bunt initially, pull it back, and launch one into center field. That's going to be easily caught by the center fielder. That's Hudson for out number 1. So a long at-bat from Ella McVeigh results in an out. A fly out to center field. That'll bring up Sealer, the left fielder, who got things started in the bottom of the first with a leadoff solo blast. Bayes fires away. First pitch in for a called strike. Bayes winds up and releases off the plate. 1-1 now to Sealer. Sealer digs back in. Bayes throws the ball into her midden. Releases. Sealer fouls it off. A couple of Michigan at-bats now really being extended by some nice defense of the plate. Sealer lets that pitch slide by for ball 2. We saw McVeigh take Bayes into a long at-bat, and Sealer's fouled off a couple now as well. 1 out, none on. 2-2 now to Ellie Sealer. Off the plate, count is now full at 3-2. Sealer digs back in. Bayes finds her spot on the rubber. Winds up and fires, and she walked her. Sealer takes first for free, and Michigan with a runner on the base paths here in the bottom of the second with 1 out. That'll bring up Lexi Blair. Blair singled in the first. And Michigan has good speed on first. And Ellie Sealer in the event of a potential wild pitch by Bayes. First pitch upstairs for ball 1 to Lexi Blair. Blair only 10 strikeouts on the season, walked 10 times as well. Very disciplined at the plate as expected with her experience. Watches another one slide by for ball 2. As Boxwell will head to the circle to talk it over with Riza Bayes. So Bonnie Thole will come down to talk to Lexi Blair. (2-0) now to the center fielder Blair. 1 out off the Ella McVeigh fly out to center. And a walk has landed Ellie Sealer on first for Michigan. Blair slings the bat over her shoulder and digs in. She sends one way back, and it's gone! Lexi Blair with her first home run of the season. And it's a party here at Alumni Field for the Wolverines. 5-0 in the bottom of the second as Blair blasts off to right center. Lexi Blair's first home run of the season extends the Michigan lead to 5 as she trots around the bases. That'll bring up Kiki Thole, the 3-hole hitter. Thole singled in her first plate appearance as she fouls that one straight back. And the Wolverine bats, especially at the top of the order, have been red hot early as Bayes misses high for ball 1. Thole digs back in from the right-handed batter's box. The delivery in there for a called strike 2. 1-2 count now to the junior catcher, Kiki Thole. Thole, the real power in this lineup for Michigan. Bayes winds up and fires. That's going to be off the plate. 2-2 now to Thole. Riza Bayes takes a peek at that wristband. Winds up and fires away, and Thole launches it back into the netting. So Michigan still working with 1 out in the bottom of the second. 2-2 count now to the junior Kiki Thole. Bayes winds up and fires, and again, driven foul by Thole. Thole steps back in. Bayes steps off the rubber. Now steps back on. Grips the ball in her mitt. Winds up and fires as Thole lifts it into shallow right. And it's hauled in by Young. Jessica Young, the right fielder Indy Langford now will step up to the plate for Michigan. With 2 out, none on after the Lexi Blair home run. Langford shows bunt, but pulls it back for ball 1. And it's been the long ball early for Michigan after the Hoosiers did a lot of damage with the home run to Michigan. Michigan now sticking it to the Broncos with a couple of big-time home runs, and obviously the triple as well from Milena Livingston, who's in the on-deck circle in the top of the first. 2-0 now to Langford. Bayes fires away. That's high for ball 3. 3-0 hitters count for the freshman from California, Indy Langford. Langford steps back in, holds that bat high above her head. Bayes fires upstairs, walked Langford. And that's some terrifying speed on the base paths now if you're Western. And Milena Livingston, who ripped a triple off the wall and right in her last at-bat, steps up, looking to do some more damage for the Wolverines. Langford with plenty of speed on first. First pitch is off for ball 1. Bayes having a little bit of trouble locating here now, late in the second. 5 consecutive balls from Bayes. Langford's going to take off, and they throw her out at second. An emphatic call from James Connors, the third plate umpire, who made his way over there to make the call. Really close call at second, but Langford is thrown out at second by Haley Boxwell. A nice throw from the junior catcher. So Lauren Durkowski will make her way back into the circle as she looks to continue her dominant work against the Broncos. Due up for Western Michigan, it's the 7-8-9 spot. Haley Smith, Jessica Gary, and Jessica Young. Or excuse me, Taylor Gary and Jessica Young. Freshman, junior, freshman. The most inexperienced part of the lineup for the Broncos. So Haley Smith steps into the batter's box for for Western Michigan. First pitch from Durkowski off for ball 1. And again, thank you for tuning into WCBN Sports live coverage of Michigan softball. Our listeners are the reason that we're able to make these broadcasts happen as Durkowski misses upstairs for ball 2. 2-0 now to Haley Smith. As our coverage for the season starts to wind down as the school year has ended, always want to make sure we say thank you to our listeners, as that is going to be ripped into right field. Haley Smith breaks the seal for the Broncos with a single into right. Kiki Thole has a couple of words with Dirk in the circle, and she'll head back to her spot behind the plate. Taylor Gary now steps up for Western. Haley Smith, 4 of 5 on stolen base attempts this year, so respectable speed. Something Michigan definitely should be aware of, and I'm sure they're keeping an eye on at first base. Big swing and a miss there from Gary. Durkowski gets a big cut. Gary settles back in. The 1-1 from Durkowski. Off the plate for ball 2. Close call there. Dirk settles in, rocks back, winds up, and fires away. That's chipped foul by Gary. And a big swing and a miss there. Durkowski gets another strikeout. Her 4th of the contest. That brings up Jessica Young as Dirk continues to operate smoothly for Michigan. Thole popped up real quick there to keep an eye on Haley Smith at first. 1 out, 1 on for the Broncos. Jessica Young, the freshman, steps up to the plate. Young from Bloomington, Indiana. Makes her way to Ann Arbor to face Michigan. 2-0 now on the freshman with 1 down and 1 runner on. Thole comes in to have a quick word with Durkowski. They fist bump and will wait for Michigan's infield to get set. McVeigh comes up to high-five Durkowski. So we're ready to go now. The delivery from Durkowski is fouled off straight into the netting behind home plate. Top 3, 1 out, 1 on for the Broncos. Michigan up 5-0. Sealer and Blair both have home runs, and Milena Livingston has a 2 RBI triple for Michigan as Durkowski freezes Young with the off speed there for strike 2. Dirk rocks back and fires. And that's a called strike 3. Joseph Malik punches out Jessica Young. And Durkowski has her 5th strikeout of the outing. And that's what she does best, is get swings and misses. As first pitch is chopped between Langford and McVeigh. Neither of them were able to get over to it in time, and so that's a single for Peyton Kelly. So Western Michigan gets their first runner in scoring position of the contest in the form of Haley Smith standing on second. Peyton Kelly on first. 2 outs for Addison Hudson. First pitch, a called strike. Dirk takes a peek at that wristband, finds her grip, rocks back, winds up and fires. That's going to be low. And a pair of Broncos will take a base. Thole blocked it, but couldn't catch it cleanly, and Smith and Kelly will both advance. So there's runners on second and third now for Western Michigan. The Broncos truly threatening for the first time this evening. First pitch upstairs, or excuse me, pitch 3 upstairs to Addison Hudson. 2-1 on the center fielder. Hudson, the lefty, hanging in there. Bat over her shoulder. Durkowski fires. Called strike 2. Michigan can get out of the jam with one more strike here. 2 outs, 2 on, 2-2 to the center fielder, Addison Hudson. The delivery from Durkowski is swung on and missed. They'll throw down the first to get the out, and Durkowski with her 6th strikeout through 3 innings. She's feeling it and gets out of the jam unscathed. Michigan up 5 through 2.5 innings. 5-0 Wolverines on top. And due up for Michigan will be Livingston, Mattia, and Voss. Riza Bayes still in there in the circle after giving up 2 in the bottom of the second off of a Lexi Blair blast to right center field. That brought home Ellie Sealer as well. So again, Livingston, Mattia, Voss due up for Michigan. A trio of seniors in the lineup for the Maize and Blue. And this is not Michigan's last home game here at Alumni Field of the season. The Wolverines added another game to the schedule against the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland tomorrow at 6 p.m. WCBN Sports will have coverage of Michigan's final home game of the season. Jack Schmader, Alex Miller on the call. Make sure to tune in to check that one out. Ball 1 low to Milena Livingston. As Bayes looks to find a rhythm here. Second baseman Smith playing with 2 feet in the grass. Takes a couple steps in after the pitch. Corners a couple steps behind the bag. Smith with 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the grass as Livingston fouls it straight back. Outfield playing a couple steps back, respecting Livingston's power after that triple off the wall and her first at-bat. That brought home 2 runners. Bayes takes a peek at the wristband, winds up and fires as Livingston will lift one into right. And that'll be caught by Young for the first out of the inning. Ellie Mattia due up now for Michigan. Mattia walked in her first plate appearance. So she's going to look to get her first hit of the outing. Delivery to Mattia. Mattia freezes on the first pitch. That's a called strike. And the top of the order, red hot for Michigan. 6, 7, 8, 9 without a hit. Obviously, Mattia walked in her first at-bat as she chops that one back into the netting. One down, none on in the bottom of the third. You're listening to WCBN Sports live coverage of Michigan softball. 0-2 to Mattia. Mattia lives to fight another day. That's low for ball one. Mattia holding that bat over her left shoulder. Takes a big cut and can't make contact. Bayes with her first strikeout, her second strikeout of the outing. Bayes gets the job done for her second out of the inning. That'll bring up Lexi Voss. Voss in the designated player spot today for Michigan. And Voss was the first of Bayes' victims at the plate as she fouls that one straight into the dirt. Oh, 1 now to Lexi Voss. Outfield still playing pretty deep. Corners a couple steps behind the bag. One now to the senior Voss. The delivery from Bayes is going to be sent foul yet again. She sent it straight down into the dirt, and it was careening towards the Bronco dugout. Wind still howling here today at Carol Hutchins Stadium. The American flag in center field is gusting in the wind as Voss will foul that one towards the press box, landing a couple rows short. Overcast here in Ann Arbor. Again, we had rain kind of coming on and off before the game, but heavy winds still in effect. If anything, that's benefited the Wolverines today with their 2 home runs. That pitch is well high of Voss for ball 2. 2-2 now with 2 outs to the senior Voss. Voss, a 200 hitter on the season in her 8th start of the year for Michigan, as she fouls that one back, but it's going to get past, or excuse me, she swung and missed. But the catcher, Boxwell, couldn't hold on to it, and Voss wisely took off. The ball got all the way to the backstop, and Voss ends up on first base on the wild pitch. So Bayes gets the strikeout, but isn't rewarded with the out as Voss is standing up there on first after Boxwell couldn't corral the third strike. Audrey LeClaire now at the dish for Michigan. 1-0 count to the senior third baseman LeClaire. And that's going to be ripped past the second baseman. Smith, and Michigan has 2 runners on now with 2 outs. Good piece of hitting there by LeClaire. A hard hit ground ball finds a gap. And that brings up Ella McVeigh, the shortstop. McVeigh with plenty of speed. Has been really effective operating in some of the small ball tactics that Michigan likes to use. Started off her career as a slap hitter exclusively, and now can kind of go back and forth. Hangs in here with the bat over her head, takes a couple of steps forward. That's strike one on McVeigh.